Welcome to Dating Beyond the Screen, the first episode, and we're going to talk about safety today. My name is Marsha. I am one of the co-founders of Dating app Breeze.
And I'm Chloé. I'm a clinical sexologist and a relationship therapist.
So, safety. Yeah, this is always, of course, the biggest concern that people talk about when, especially talking about online dating, but also dating in general.
Yeah, it is true. Safety is a big thing, and it needs to be a big thing.
Yeah.
Because, it is important, but I do think it is about finding a balance. When we're talking about safety, it is, of course, with who are you meeting? Do you know the person a little bit with who you're meeting, or are you going in blind? Are there some things that you can undertake to guarantee your safety, like letting your friends know where you're going? I'm going on a date tonight. I'll let you know when I'm home again.
Yeah.
So I do think that safety is something important to think about before you start dating. Not at the moment itself, but beforehand, think about what you're going to undertake to guarantee your safety.
Of course, there's a few of these like things you can always take care of. So make sure your phone is charged. Tell people where you're going and who you're meeting.
Yeah. Who am I meeting? Where am I? If you change location, sometimes it happens with the date. It's going great, and you're like, oh, let's go to another venue or something. Tell your people where you're at and where you're going. That is really important. You can put on your location services with your smartphones so people can follow you around. But of course, be careful who you're sharing your location with. But I also think in advance, sometimes you have the possibility to get to know one another a little bit. And that could be an advantage because you know already who you're talking with or who you're
just to know
meeting.
It's not a creep or a weirdo.
Exactly. I think that's the most scared part to experience.
Yeah,
I don't know whether you experienced someone being completely different than who you were expecting.
No, we never really heard stories about this from, especially Breeze users, of course. Okay, there's no way to catfish.
No, yeah.
I've never had this experience myself. I once went on a date where I hadn't looked at the profile well enough. It wasn't happen. And it's just like some random photos. And I was mostly intrigued because he was standing next to a sculpture from an artist that I really liked. So I just liked him based on that. Yeah. But then I never realized that I didn't know he was
in love with the statue and not with the guy.
Exactly. Yeah. And then on the first date, I realized like, I'm not that attracted to you.
I actually heard a lot of stories about people having the feeling of being catfished.
Yeah.
Like having the feeling like you really do not look like your profile picture, or you told me you were like some big important guy and that's not actually the case. A lot of things that people actually lie about, who they are and what they do and how they look. And, I'm very sportive and they're actually not. So I actually heard a lot of stories about, catfishing.
And that's, of course, a very interesting point because you portray yourself in a way on a profile. And, of course, you have to, you kind of have to sell yourself, right? So you pick your best pictures. Maybe they're older pictures. You portray yourself as very active, sporty, social, everything.
The positive side of yourself.
How far can you go with that?
Yeah, it is okay to sell yourself because, of course, you need to sell yourself. You're not going to put your worst pictures on it, I hope. So, of course, it is important to show the best side of yourself. But there's a difference between showing the best side and lying.
Yeah.
You can choose the best pictures, and actually a pretty good tip around your pictures: never choose your own pictures.
Never choose your own pictures.
No, let your friends choose your pictures. Because they did some research and apparently we ourselves do not choose the best dating pictures.
Because you have a different perception of yourself?
You look at, oh no, but over there my hair is not perfect, or, I look a bit strange. And friends look at the vibe that you're giving and, oh, this is you. And, so it is way more important to show the vibe than the perfect picture of yourself. Another tip is always use one black and white picture.
Oh, I've never heard about this tip.
Because apparently, black and white pictures score better on dating apps. It doesn't matter which dating app, black and white pictures score better. Not all, of course, but one because it's mostly a bit arty, a bit mysterious.
Okay.
It attracts, apparently.
We should give these tips to people. Yeah.
There you go. That's what we're doing here. So let your friends choose black and white pictures. And of course, use pictures that are recent, that are authentic, not pictures of 5, 6, 7 years ago. You want to get better pictures? Take some new ones, you know? And I always say use a variety of pictures. So not only your face with sunglasses, no sunglasses, no fishes.
No fishes, no cars, no
No cars,
shirtless.
thank you.
Yeah.
No, every picture is with 10 beers in my hand. No, you know.
won't believe how many of these profiles we get at Breeze.
I think I know more about fish now than men.
Yeah, that's the
Really.
worst.
I've seen so many fishes on dating apps.
It's not a cliche. It's really true. Yeah.
It is true. So that are no good. That's not a good idea. Of course, it's a good idea to show yourself, your face, show your full body.
Yeah.
In a way, not naked, of course, but show yourself how you are, you know? Don't use filters. Just be you. Because if you use filters, someone is gonna be like, you're different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the
that's
snatched.
yeah, and that's never a good idea. And I don't know whether you've heard of reverse catfishing.
I've never heard about this term.
Okay. Reverse catfishing is a trend that we see, is that people actually use worse pictures.
Oh.
And they're like, if someone already likes me
Yeah.
with that picture, and then they see me in real life, they're really gonna like me. And then
So-
people are like, wow, you look way better than your pictures.
This is like under promise, over deliver
Exactly.
to its fullest.
And that
on
can
dating.
work, but you know, just balance it out.
Yeah.
You know, don't go for the worst picture because no one's gonna like you or whatever.
That's some great advice already. I always tell people also put in one picture of you and your friends because
Yeah.
it gives so much context.
Yeah.
And also make sure that it's clear who you are on that picture. So don't do 5 group pictures and you don't know who this person
who
is.
will I date? Yeah.
Okay, let's go on
Yeah.
to some hot topics that our listeners sent in.
Okay, perfect.
So we have a few terms, and I wonder if you can explain
Okay.
to me what they are, because
Tell
I
me.
haven't heard of them. Angel shot.
An angel shot. An angel shot is actually a term which is used concerning safety. If you're feeling unsafe with the date you are having, you can go to the bar and you can order an angel shot. Or some people say call Angela, I think, or something.
Yeah,
They're like,
ask for Angela. I think
Yeah,
that's a
there
thing
you
as
go.
well. Yeah.
And that gives a sign to the bartender that you're not feeling safe and that something is wrong, so they can or help you to safety or, you know, call someone or do something, intervene,
Yeah.
do something. The only thing that I don't like about those things is not everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I don't think that every bartender gets like this list of these are all the code words that you should know. And
Yeah.
then I can imagine if you're feeling unsafe and you're going to the bar and you're asking for an angel shot and the person's like, I don't know that one, then the
There goes the
anxiety,
whole-
yeah,
yeah.
the anxiety rises. And of course, if your partner, you know what an angel shot is. We're going on a date and I'm like, the bartender comes over and I'm like, an angel shot, please.
And
And you know what it means. That it's super awkward.
Yeah.
So it does not always work. It can work in some situations, but I don't think that's the best way to provide safety.
It's also something that we hear at Breeze a lot because we organize the date, of course,
Yeah.
at partnered bars and restaurants. So the bar personnel is, the bar staff knows that there's 2 people meeting there for the first
Which
time.
provides safety, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we always ask them, like, okay, if you see that someone has gone to the toilet, maybe just check in. How are you doing? How's the date going?
Yeah.
Can we help you with anything? And that's a way safer moment than indeed en plein public say, I want an angel shot.
An angel shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm at a club and then they have on the doors of the toilets. They have some extra instructions or like go
if
here.
you need help, you can text this number or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
it's always so
And
nice.
it are good ideas to provide safety. For me, it means that people are you know, very conscious that there sometimes is a problem with safety. So I do like that about Breeze, you know, that there is a safe environment and that you know that people are aware, you know. Have you actually known about safety issues that a bartender had to intervene, or
We've never had such a one time we had that was a weird story. Sometimes we get really weird stories.
I can imagine.
People who they had some struggles about like who needed to pay for the date, and then this one person asked for like a payment after the date, and then we had to ask the bartender like who paid in the end. Yeah, but at some point we also decided we're not gonna intervene with all the you figure it out yourself because we can't play the police and
people are
go
adults
investigate.
as well. Yeah.
Okay, let's go
Okay,
on to the second term, pulling a Houdini.
Well, Houdini is a magician. Yeah, you disappear. You just actually it's ghosting in real life.
Ah, yeah.
So you're actually instead of saying, "Hey, I don't feel it. There's no match for me. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm so sorry. Thanks for meeting me, but I'm gonna go." You're just like, "I need to go to the restroom," and you don't come back.
But this is always something that I see in movies.
Yeah.
But I never really can imagine people do this in real life.
I've heard people doing it, but like semi-ghosting in like finding an excuse, a way out. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my friend just texted me, her boyfriend broke up, or, her car broke down. I really need to go and help her, so I'm sorry, we're gonna have to cut it short. And finding excuses is semi-ghosting in a way to
Yeah.
just get yourself out,
But I mean, if there's a reason to get out.
Exactly. I always say concerning, you can always leave if you're unsafe or really uncomfortable. Please leave,
Yeah, there's no point of staying.
No. Of course, there is some etiquette, and I do think that it would be the most polite way to just, you don't have to explain yourself. No is a full sentence.
Exactly.
You can just say, I'm sorry, I had different expectations, or I'm not feeling well. I would not like to continue. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for meeting me, but this is going to
that's
end
it.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you and bye, So I do think there is some etiquette, and just, because imagine if you would be there, sitting there, and he's
You're
going
also
to the
nervous.
toilet.
Yeah.
And he's not coming back. How long are you going to sit there?
Yeah, that's awkward.
Because you're like, maybe, he has troubles in the toilet, you don't know. So
Yeah.
what are you going to ask the waiter? Like, could go check? Is he still here?
Yeah, you put the other person in a really
must
awkward
be
position.
Devastating.
Yeah.
And I do, of course, safety. If you're unsafe, you don't need an excuse. Just go. But besides that, please still be a bit,
Be human about
yeah,
it.
be human.
Okay, then we go on to the last term, and that is Life 360. And I don't know what that is.
Well, that's actually an app.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
it's
and
actually
an
another
Okay.
app.
Tell me about this app.
And it's actually an app that shares your location and your battery percentage, actually, with your friends.
Oh,
so your
smart.
friends are constantly up to date with where are you and does she still have battery? And I on one hand, I do like it. And on the other hand, I don't think we need an extra app for that. I do think with location sharing, you can do that with WhatsApp or with other things. We cannot exaggerate as well. Because then I would be, I don't know the app myself, but I would be like, how far does that go?
Yeah.
Every second, does the friend get a text like, hey, not she's moving,
She reached someone else's
Yeah,
home. Is that a
yeah.
good thing or a bad thing? Do you
Maybe
intervene?
You don't always want your friends to know exactly what and how, because you want to tell something afterwards yourself as well,
Leave a little
you
bit.
went to his house,
Yeah.
you wanna have the mystery, but of course I do get the safety thing, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of ways. If you use the app, fine, but there are a lot of ways to let your friends know where you are, and you can text as well,
So these are all things
Yeah.
that you can do about safety
Yeah.
before the date.
Exactly.
What are things on the date or after the date that, are in your own power?
I think on the day itself, you can sit not in the corner and not, choose a spot where everyone can see you. If I want to be extreme, choose a spot where you can flee out the door. But that's very extreme, That are actually therapist things. We always sit at the door so we can run if a client
Oh,
would be.
really?
Yeah. So that's actually
Interesting.
something that I use from my therapist background.
And this is why you're right next to the door.
That's why I chose that spot. I'm close. No, just kidding. But so if you're really not comfortable, choose a spot close to the door. Choose a spot where people can see you, not in the back,
Yeah.
That is something you can do during the date. During the date, if you're not feeling safe, go to the restroom, go to the bar, use your phone and say, someone's calling me, I'm just going to step outside and,
Smart.
That are things that you can do during the date. And after the date, it really depends. If you're not feeling safe, then don't go with a person. Don't go home with him or her. Don't.
Say it louder for people in the back.
Yeah.
This is such a,
You don't have to, it's not because you meet someone that you have to go on with the date.
You don't owe someone anything.
You don't owe anything, And of course, it's not fun for the other one to cut it short. Maybe he or she had like more expectations and he or she is disappointed. People get over it.
Yeah.
Disappointment is just a feeling. It will pass, But after the date, I actually had one experience myself that was pretty scary after a date. It was a good date and was fine, but he wanted to be a gentleman, but it didn't feel safe gentleman. He wanted to escort me to my car.
Yeah, that's always a bit of a red flag.
And for me, I already said like, no thanks, I'm fine. I'm just gonna call a friend on my way to my car. And he kept persisting, but in a way that really felt uncomfortable. So I could not really do anything because he just, I could not say my car is over there and lie because you would see. So I jumped in my car, and actually the first thing that I did was
lock the doors.
I literally locked the doors. The guy didn't do anything. I was fine. I called a friend.
Yeah, but it's about the feeling that it gave you, right?
Yeah. And that is something that I really want to tell people is your feeling is valid. If you feel unsafe, you feel unsafe. It could be that there's nothing wrong with the person and you just felt something that maybe wasn't there. But trust your gut.
Yeah. We all sometimes hear from people, especially women, they go on this date and the guy insists on paying.
Yeah.
And then they kind of expect something in return. And that's always, so ladies, if you don't want to owe them anything, of course, like you don't owe anyone anything,
No.
of course, anyway.
Even if they pay, you don't owe them.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Of course, a split the bill is the easiest way out because then no one owes anyone.
That's the route we chose with Breeze. Like you pay for the first drink beforehand.
Yeah.
So if you leave after that first drink,
you're fine.
You're fine. You're free to go.
There you go. But you don't owe anything. And I actually have someone who once told me, it was a woman, and she said, like, I really hate it when men pay, even though it's a courtesy.
Yeah.
It's like something fancy.
They try to be romantic.
Yeah. And maybe they just want to be romantic and gentleman. And but she said, even if I'm not feeling it, but he paid, I automatically go on a second date just to repay my debt.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of feel that. And that's such a shame.
Yeah. And I get it in a way, you feel guilty like he paid that kind of money and it's not fair. I'm not going to see him or her again. But you don't owe anything. If he or she wants to pay, fine, but split the bill and you're safe.
Yeah. And then the second moment on the date itself, that's often also kind of an awkward moment that can lead to unsafe situations, is when it's like, so, are we seeing each other again? Do you want to exchange phone numbers? What happens after this?
What are we going to do now?
Yeah.
It is always perfectly fine to say, I want to think about it.
Yeah.
It needs to sink in.
Yeah.
I like the date, but it needs to sink in. Is it okay if I let you know? But of course, you need phone numbers or something to let someone know something. I'm not always sure why people are so hesitant in giving out phone numbers. They can't really do a lot with your phone number except call you. But if you block them, then they can't call you anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm not that reserved in
it's okay to give a phone number
and then just let them know, look, I thought about it and it's not for me. I'm not feeling the vibe. I'm gonna, end it here. I wish you all the best and thank you for meeting me and but I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you for respecting my, my wishes or so I'm not that reserved with telephone numbers.
Yeah.
But of course you don't need to give them I live there and I work there exactly and
giving a phone number is also not a
no, it does not mean anything. I always say people, all of Belgium and Netherlands have my phone number. It's online, People forget how many sites have their number, and so don't be too afraid to giving your number, but don't feel obliged as well. You don't have
because that's the thing. Like personally, I'm quite a people pleaser, and I would always feel pressured after the date to sort of say something positive, say something like, "Oh, I really liked it," blah blah blah. And I would also automatically already sort of accept the second date. So, and that's at Breeze we decided like, okay, so they don't have any ways to contact each other beforehand, right? Because there's no chat. And then on the first date, it's often, okay, do you want to exchange phone numbers? And I would always feel pressured into saying yes, even though I didn't want there to be second date.
In the people pleasing kind of way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we built in the app that the day after the date, the app asks you, how was the date? Do you want to exchange phone numbers? And if you don't want to exchange phone numbers, you can also send a really nice message. Like, hey, it wasn't a match.
Perfect. Because that way, because I do think if you had a date, people expose themselves in a very vulnerable way.
Exactly.
Even if it's not a match, you're working with people. There's someone on the other side, you're meeting, and he or she has feelings too,
Don't forget that.
And I do think it's a good option to choose whether you can exchange your phone numbers. If it's, you don't have to, but I do like the option that you can let the person know something like, hey, I'm not going to share my phone number. For me, it's not the vibe, whatever. I'm going to end it here, but thank you and bye, That's the etiquette, again.
Exactly. Let's listen to one of our listeners who sent in a voice memo with a question.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, I'm Anna, and I need you guys' advice. So about 2 weeks ago, I went on a date through a dating app. I've done this before. It's always been fine. I've never gotten a relationship out of it or anything, but it's always been a good time. Nothing strange ever happened. However, 2 weeks ago, I also went on a date, and we were going to meet up on like a terrace, and I went there and I saw the guy I was going to meet up with, and he looked much older than his pictures. Like, he hadn't seen me yet, but he looked very different, and instantly I sort of got like chills and just bad intuition. I was like, okay, I shouldn't go there. So basically I just turned around, and then I just didn't show. And I also haven't really texted him since because I didn't really know what to say. So do you guys have advice on how to handle situations like these? Thanks so much for answering my question.
So listening to this story, we came up with a few statements, and I'm very curious about your opinion on this. So the first statement, if people don't look like their picture, you're allowed to walk out.
No.
Why?
Of course, every statement probably will have a yes and no. I always say, we talked about it, you're never obliged to do anything that you don't want. And if, she saw him and she was like, whoa, this is not what I expected. And she decided, this is not for me. I'm closing the door. I'm out. That's what we heard. And for me, that is a bit losing etiquette. Of course, it's not okay that he apparently was way older and did not match his picture. That is not okay. Actually, what I would suggest is going up to him, and it needs some balls, going up to him and saying like, hey, I'm actually a bit surprised to see you. I really expected something different based on your profile or based on the things that I saw. And it does not give me a good feeling. So I'm going to end it here.
And then
thank you
walk
for
out.
coming and then leaving. That is, but of course it is easier said than done.
Yeah.
I do realize that. And
if it helps, call a friend, explain the situation, and ask if they are staying on the phone while you do it.
Or call me in 1 minute, and oh, sorry.
And it's also nice for him to get that feedback, because otherwise it will happen again for the next date.
And that is something that I do think, we're all people. And of course it is not okay to use pictures that don't represent yourself. Of course, it's not okay. I actually heard a story once. It's a bit similar, but the person gained a lot of pounds, gained a lot of weight, and so really did not resemble anymore the pictures that were shown on our profile. And he also said, I did not like it, but I sat down, I ordered one drink. He said, I think I wanted to explain to her, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And so he was actually a guy, he said it, I don't think this is a good idea. If you want people to like you, show you
who you really are.
And who you are.
Yeah,
and there are there are people who gonna like you, but make sure they like you from you. Because now you're always gonna have someone disappointed.
Yeah, and that's the wrong place to start off, right?
Yeah. I can imagine sitting there, and if you don't look anything like your profile picture, it does not give safety. It does not feel safe. It's like you're being trapped or catfished or, So that is really not okay. But I still would say, please don't ghost. Please don't, just say something. Even if it's
don't
just
break
a short...
something.
Yeah, even if it's just a short sentence. Because again, that person, how long is he or she going to be there? Waiting for you?
Yep. Let's go to the second statement. And that is, the first date is only about physical appearance.
I hope not. Of course, we all know that physical attraction is a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's not, you know, because always people say, yeah, but beauty is inside. I know, but you still have to look at the other one, you know. It is not about being about being beautiful. It's not about being perfect. It is not about being the model or whatever. That is not the thing. But you need to feel some sort of attraction. What I do think is important to difference between is it is not about the spark. It is not I'm meeting you and I'm like, oh, wow, flabbergasted, and I think I love you already.
Yeah. That's movies.
Yeah, and only 11% of people ever experienced love at first sight.
Okay.
Which is never love. You cannot love someone you don't know. It is attraction at first sight, you know?
That's a good...
That can happen. But only 11%. It's not much, you know? So don't let your date depend on, is it love at first sight? No, it's almost never gonna be. What is important is, can I look at this person? Am I not disgusted? Sorry to say.
It's a lower bar,
yeah. You know, if you really feel like you want to go sit back and like, I really don't like
yourself.
Please do not touch me, or, you know.
That's a red flag.
That is a red flag. That is a flag for you to say like, this is not gonna be it.
Yeah.
But people need to realize that attraction really, really, really can grow. It is amazing how sometimes people at first glance are like, he or she's not really my type.
But I give it a chance.
I'm going to give it a chance. And you're getting to know him or her. And he starts to literally grow on you. And I once heard a story of it was actually a friend of mine, not a client, but a friend, who said, I met someone, no, not my type. But I promised a second date.
Pleaser.
Pleaser. I promised a second date, so I'm gonna go. And the second date, actually, there was no, expectations because she didn't really, felt it. She went into the day like, I'm just gonna do this, and I hope the date is a fun activity or something. And by the end of the date, she was like, he has something. He has charisma. I don't know what it is. The X factor. There is something, and they're actually married.
Really?
Yeah.
Fast forward.
And now she's like, I really think he's really attractive. So attraction can really, really grow, but you need to give it time to know the person, and then you will find him or her attractive.
So then would you say physical attraction can grow, but emotional attraction cannot grow?
It can grow as well. No, it can grow as well. In the beginning, we all know a first date is a bit stressy, and you're maybe not the best version of yourself, or not showing your vulnerability immediately.
Yeah. Trying to impress.
Yeah, so I always say try to not be interesting. Do not try to be interesting yourself.
Okay.
But sorry, that was not clear. Try not to be interesting yourself. Don't oversell yourself, but try to have interest in the other one.
Exactly.
Try to figure out who he or she is. And then maybe emotional closeness can come from it.
That's so interesting because you often go into a date trying to sell yourself, only worrying about how you come across. Yeah. But it's actually a first date is also, do you like the other person?
Who is he or she?
Yeah.
If I don't actually like the word dating. I actually use the word networking. And it's actually semantics, but it is a different mindset. I just want to know who you are. I want to expand my network. And I want to get to know you because you seem interesting.
Take off that expectation of needing to find the love of your life.
Are you the one for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Are you the father of my children?
Quite the pressure. Yeah.
Whew, I'm getting sweaty just thinking about it, Don't do that. Just go into it with the mindset, I'm just going to network. Maybe you find a new friend. Maybe, I actually have an anecdote, sorry, but it's a really good one. It was someone who went on a date with someone, didn't match on attractiveness, but it was a really good connection, and they were like, I actually want to be friends. You're interested in, they had the same hobby, so hey, we could do this together. Fun, we can teach one another. They did that. Year goes by, and the guy says, it's my birthday, I have a birthday party, come over, you're invited. And over there at the birthday party, she meets the guy she's still with. She's not married yet. Maybe that will happen. But, so expand your network, and you never know what's going to happen.
That's a great last statement for this episode. Thanks for this conversation, Chloe, and thanks for listening. This was the first episode of Dating Beyond the Screen. And next episode, we're going to talk about attachment issues.
I would listen.